You're in shot. Good morning. I'm Amanda, and I am in the loft at Battleground Games and Hobbies in Abington, Massachusetts. This is one of 3 locations for Battleground. We also have stores in Norton and Saugus, Massachusetts, but Abington has a loft, and the loft is a great place to stream from. We have our streaming rig up here. We stream Friday nights, doing board game streams. We're starting to do some other stream stuff this Sunday, the Sunday after I'm filming this, we are doing a RPG of the month stream down in our Norton location, and I'm saying our like I work here. I don't get paid. I don't actually work here. I just like to stream painting, and I do painting streams. I am also on the Friday night board game streams, so that'll be tonight at 7:30 Eastern. We will be playing Ghostbusters, which I have, but it's heavy, so I'm not going to lift it up into camera. But this morning, I'm going to be painting some minis. These are miniatures from the Talisman board game, which you may or may not be familiar with. They are these little plastic figures. This is one that I started. I've been working on for a little while. I actually took a break on these for a while because I was doing, let's see, I worked on the Fallout board game figures for a while, and then I just finished up working on the figures for Wasteland Express delivery service later. Wasteland Express delivery service was really fun. It's a really fun game to play, and it's a really fun game to paint. The trucks in that were absolutely a blast to paint. Did I mute myself? Yeah, I did. Excellent. But they come in this very generic gray plastic. I hear Andy.
It says you're playing Patrick Plays Magic.
Does it really? Well, I'm not. They come with in this sort of gray plastic. I see Painting Minis Talisman.
Yeah, but the subtitle on the screen.
Oh, see, I still had an ad playing
Yeah.
on mine. So yeah, they come, some of them are really awesome. This one's going to be a giant pain to get in there into the back of the cloak. But it's a pretty nifty figure. These are some of the later figures that came out. This Minotaur is one of the later figures. Some of their earlier ones, the sculpts are not great.
There, I fixed it.
Let me see if I still have any of the older ones in this box. This box just has like all the figures. This is one of the more annoying ones. I hate it. I hate it.
It's kind of hilarious, though.
Her legs go right through the dragon's wings. I'm going to have to just like paint in a gap. And she's also like been glued onto it, which is really funny. She's got this seat that's just sort of attached, and then her legs just sort of disappear. Anyway, not my favorite of the figures. But I have a lot of them. You can see. Yeah, this is one of the older ones. It's not as detailed, not as interesting. That's okay. It's going to be a relatively short stream today because I have places to be. Fun story. Yeah, this is one of the earlier sculpts, and you can tell, like, looking at that and looking at that, those are 2 very different quality levels in terms of the sculpt. Yeah. So we've got some really interesting figures and then some not as interesting figures, but that's okay. But yeah, fun story about this week. On my way to work earlier this week, a tree branch fell on my car. It was super. It was great. Yeah, I'm fine, and my car, for the most part, is fine. I was driving along. There was a small box truck in front of me, and it brushed up against a tree as it was driving underneath it. Just, you know, the branches just sort of bobbed a little. And they bobbed, and then they bobbed again. And then one kept coming down. And by the time by the time it started falling, I was too close to really stop. If I had slammed on the brakes, I might have ended up with it tangled in my undercarriage, which I really didn't want. So it ended up falling right above my head in the corner of my front windshield, like right in the corner where like the windshield meets the frame of the car. And my windshield's fine, amazingly enough. I have a whole bunch of smudges and streaks on my car, and there's one amazing one that goes the entire length. There's like this dirt streak across the entire length of the hood of the roof of my car. My headlights are fine. The hood's fine. My windshield came through it intact. It had a bunch of like smudges and it's dirt and pollen, but it's intact. It's been a few days and there are no cracks. So knock on wood, that'll be the same. But totally smashed the side mirror on the driver's side, which I didn't notice right away. I was so shaken by the fact that a tree branch had literally fallen on top of me. And when it fell, you know, I saw it, the branches sort of bobbed, and one just kept coming. And you learn when that happens that your reaction is to just go. Because I thought it was coming right through the front windshield. It did not, but that didn't mean I didn't duck. And I was so shaken by it, but I just kept driving. Like my brain just went into automatic, just get to work, you're safe, you're safe. Got to work, got out of my car to inspect what damage there might be. There were a couple of things on the windshield that I wasn't sure if they were chips or not. Got out of my car, inspected the windshield. Windshield looked fine. Inspected all the streaks and stuff from where it had hit, figured out where it had made impact, and was like, my God, I was really lucky. And then went back into my car to get my bag and my lunch and my tea for work. And when I went to close the door, realized the side mirror was folded in. It had like, it's hinged so that you can pop it in if you're in a tight space. And I was like, oh, that's not a good sign. Popped it back out again. The mirror itself is a nice spiderweb crack. And the casing underneath the back of the mirror fell off. The top is fine, it's intact, but the casing underneath fell off. So we took it to the dealership and had them look at it. So yeah, I'm just realizing that like I apparently painted this guy's batch and I left black space around his butt. His pants are gonna need some work. He needs some work. He needs some help. So we're going to work this morning for a little bit. So long story. They got the part for my mirror. They had to order it. It's not a brand new car. It's like 5 years old. I did take it to the place I bought it, though, because they have the VIN number and they have all my information on file and it makes it easy. And they're nice there. They've got a nice waiting room, very comfortable. They've got very comfy chairs. And they'll let you hang out while they do work. And yeah, they're just very nice there. I have nothing but good to say about the dealership I bought my car from. It's Planet Super in Hanover. So anyway, I left my parking pass for work in my car. And I feel real stupid about that. And you know, I got out of the car and I was like, do I have everything? Yes, I have everything I need. Awesome. I'm good. I've got I remembered to grab my umbrella out of the car. I grabbed all the like better? I can't quite tell at this distance. And the other problem being when I go to focus, I'm putting a shadow over it, so I don't know if it's quite catching it. think it's catching my fingers. Better? Yeah, he is pretty blurry. What's annoying is that I'm not really like controlling it. Is that better? Ah. That's better, isn't it? I think that's as good as it's getting. I don't think I can be any more precise, unfortunately. Anyway, long story short is that I have to take my car back. So I left my parking pass, so I was going to have to go back there today anyway, but my plan had been drop my husband here at the store, because he works here, in the morning, drive over to the dealership, which is not that far away from here, and pick up the parking pass I left there in the rental car that I used while my car was getting some other work done, and then come back. But then on my way here today, I got a call from said dealership. I'm going to go back over these sort of bracers. That the mirror had come in. They had to order it. But apparently it's here, which is really awesome. So I'm going to head out there half an hour-ish. So it's going to be a short stream. Because I got to drive over there, and I don't drive over there from here that much, or ever. So I'm going to have to learn a new route as I go. So I have an appointment to get the work done. They called, and they were like, hey, so we've got that part for you. I was like, oh, super. They're like, yeah, would you like to make an appointment to bring it in today? So they said 2:30. 2:30 it will be. Not too worried about getting this on the sword or the like the scabbard or the ties. I may change the color of the ties, though they're pretty good against the red. So we all had a good laugh about this guy when I first got him, because before I painted his pants here, he just looked diseased. He just looked like his legs were like covered in boils. Not a good look, honestly. Probably not the look he was going for. They're supposed to be dragon skin pants. When you look at the actual picture, he's a dragon hunter. That's his picture. So he's supposed to have these like dragon skin gauntlets and these dragon skin pants and this like codpiece thing. He's got his like dude pouch. And this big axe. But the mold just, it made him look just like diseased. It made him look like his legs were just covered in boil and wart and stuff. And I know that was not the intent, but on this scale, it just didn't read dragon skin, it read illness. So I painted those first just to see if it was going to look even remotely decent. And actually painting them helped immensely. It really changed sort of the way the figure came across. Yeah, I took a break on the Talisman figures while I was painting Fallout and Wasteland Express. think I painted something prior to that too. What else have I painted? I painted a friend's copy of Santorini. I painted a friend's D&D figure, which was really fun. That was good times. It's a fun figure to paint. And he seemed happy with it when I gave it to him, so it's all varnished and done now, so. But yeah, the main idea behind sort of painting the red and the belt and everything was to prove that it wasn't going to look like total pants. Or it would look like total pants, depending on how you're using the word pants. One of the things I've found doing painting on stream is if I go back and look at my streams, I can see spots that I've missed easier on camera later than I can tell when I'm actually like sitting here painting them. All right, buddy. He's like really tanned too. He supposedly has a big beard, and his figure does not have the big beard. I may give him just like the tiniest little like douche bro. Is that a Van Dyke? I'm looking it up. Yeah. Give him the tiniest Van Dyke. He's gonna look like such a douche. Anyway. I'm gonna do the metallic on his axe because I feel like it. And his axe is really shiny. Like, this is a dude who takes care of his weaponry. He gives a shit. This is a guy who, he made pants out of dragon skin. This is a man who knows how he wants to come across. Though apparently his choices in facial hair aren't awesome. Oh, friend Toshi is around. Hey, friend. A bigger brush for this because I'm covering a much larger area. I'm going to do a basic silver on this for now. And it actually has like highlighting and a sheen to it in the art. So we'll do this for now, and we'll end up doing another coat and then doing some highlights and playing around with it, making it look fancy later. But for now, we'll start with just the silver. I need to buy new brushes at some point. There's a Michael's out near the dealership. I could go there. Like, I don't need new good brushes. I need new crap brushes. I need brushes I can just treat like garbage. There are always going to be brushes that like you use for your grunt work that you don't need to be super fancy. And I got this one at Michael's, and I've been using it for several months now, and it's fine. But eventually it's going to wear out. Like, I can tell it's going. I don't treat it as well as I should. That's my fault. I don't wash it as thoroughly as I should at the end of a day. I just sort of rinse it and say the hell with it. I should be better about that. I know better. I'm just lazy. And the handle of this is wood. It looks like he's got his sword in a scabbard, so I'll have to find another shade of brown for that. One of the things I had not anticipated when I started dabbling in painting like this was the absolutely ridiculous number of shades of brown I was going to need to care about. You don't realize just how many different browns you're going to need for something until you realize, well, that's not the same color as that. They're both brown, sure, but that's not the same color, and they have to sit against each other. So I've got to differentiate them, and I need to differentiate them like early. Like that scabbard can't be the same color as either the ties on his legs or the pants. It has to be a different shade of brown than both. Just a little annoying. Go ahead and do the crossbar actually in silver. Crossbar in the pommel. And be silver. He seems to care about the axe a lot more than the sword, though. The sword is not on display as much. The axe is definitely like his baby. So Talisman on its own is kind of a nonsense game. If you haven't played Talisman, it's not the most mechanically interesting game in the world. I'll put it that way. I'm going to need a small brush for that. Talisman is a game where you basically grind until you're powerful enough to try and take out the rest of the competition. And the idea is that you and like other adventurers are traveling around a far distant land, and you're sort of growing stronger and stronger, and eventually you are venturing into the more dangerous areas so that you can get to a secret lair where the Crown of Command lies waiting. And the Crown of Command is, it basically allows you to like take out your competition as long as you are there. So there's sort of, it starts sort of an end game clock almost. The thing is, it takes absolutely forever to get yourself up to the level that you need to be to face the stuff that's ahead of the Crown of Command. You stop rolling dice to move, and you move one space at a time, encountering whatever is there in the next space. And that's cool. But it's definitely a grindy sort of game. But it has all these expansions and cool additional figures. So like you start out, your starting figures are like the dwarf, the elf, the druid, the sorceress. Or some of the others starting. I think the minstrel is actually a starting one. Worst figure ever. His thighs are pressed together and they're flat across. There's no like dip for the individual legs. It's very disconcerting. I think the monk is one of the early ones. So like that's the monk. he's all painted. No, the Sorceress is definitely one of the earlier ones. And those are both painted. I have those done. And I have those here. A lot of these, I've finished them, and they're at home in pick foam. They're like done and varnished, and so I don't carry them around. These I don't even carry around anymore because I was painting other stuff for so long. But these were ones that I had finished just prior to working on Fallout. Actually, he's not really done, is he? His face needs some work. He's not varnished yet. These guys aren't varnished. His robe is done. I'm going to fix his face. She's done. And I'm really pleased with how she came out. Matching the purple on her was a gigantic pain. Yeah. She's definitely done. This guy needs some more work in the wood grain, though the leaf parts of him are pretty much done. He's basically an ent, but without the branding. And this guy is done and varnished. It's the ogre. Got his card. And he is very yellow, you might notice. That's his card, and how he's supposed to look. And there's the figure. I'm really pleased with how he came out. He came out pretty much exactly how I envisioned him looking, which is really cool. So he's done. But like, that was the Sorceress. There she is. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Hey, Riley.
Hello.
I kind of forgot that the monk's face wasn't done, though. But your face. Yeah, I forgot these two weren't quite finished. Well, the rest of him is pretty much done. He actually has the talisman right there. You can see he's got this little gold triangle. That's the talisman, and you need one in order to get to the Crown of Command. All this other stuff is done, and I obviously did a wash on him at some point. Just never finished his face, or his staff. His staff is looking pretty sad. Well, let's do that, because this dragon hunter is annoying me. I don't like it. Anyway, let's play around with this monk's face. He's got a wooden staff. Oh, I don't have the chat up. When do I want to head out? Well, I need to be at the dealership at 2:30. It theoretically takes me 20 minutes to get from here to there if I go the way my phone wants me to go. So I want to give myself like an extra 20 minutes. So I'm saying like 1:45. So I've got like another 45 minutes, 40 minutes-ish before I want to haul butt. All right. Well, let's look at these guys. So I absolutely love this tree guy, though I don't know where. Oh, there's his card. He's an ancient oak. There he is. You can see he's got a little squirrel on his elbow. So I worked really hard on all of the like greenery on him, and I'm really pleased with how all of that came out. Now I really have to work on like the wood grain and stuff for him. So we'll do that, and then let's do the monk's face first. Yes, but your face. His head is all sorts of horror show. He's definitely one of the earlier sculpts, you can tell. The actual sculpted detail on his head is really not great. He's supposed to have his like little bald spot. It's just Some of the earlier sculpts make me very angry. They're not good. They're not good at all. I definitely was doing rosy skin for him. He's supposed to look cheery, I guess. Ish. I don't know. He just never quite looked right to me. Ugh. Messed that up. Yeah, this sculpt is not kind. It's a difficult sculpt to play with. Don't like how some of the bits of it look. I think maybe the Talisman figures were before I started streaming. I don't think I've streamed any of the Talisman painting. I could be wrong. Maybe I've got some old videos, but I think we really started doing streaming of painting stuff after I started doing the Fallout figures. I am really looking forward to the oh, his face looks a little better. I'm really looking forward to Wasteland Warfare coming out. That's the new Fallout yeah, that's good. The Fallout wargaming stuff is coming out theoretically this summer. Theoretically. It's been pushed back a few times. But it's a company that does a lot of other like miniature stuff, so I trust them to get it done. So we're gonna try and fix his hair. He's supposed to have this sort of like light brown, like graying hair almost, I think. It's sort of hard to tell. So we're gonna do brown hair with highlights, basically. It'll be like I'm going to my stylist. God, the sculpt is so bad. There's so many little, like, problems with it that do not become apparent until you try to put paint on them. Isn't there a word for, like, the bald spot that priests have? Or monks have? Isn't that, like... I feel like there's like a legit word for that. Just trying to give this a little bit of texture. I'm doing that by doing a little bit of dry brush on it. Not trying to do a ton, just a little bit of roughness to it so it's not all the same matte sort of color to it. Much, much better. God, that Dragon Hunter does look like someone who'd have a soul patch. God, I'm gonna do a Van Dyke because I think it would be funny. Better. I'm still not like super happy with his hair, but it's better than it was. We're gonna get out the really tiny brush to do eyebrows. This is my really tiny brush. An idea of scale. It's that big. Problem with working with a brush this tiny is that the paint on it dries really fast, so you have to work really quickly. Which isn't how you always want to be working. At that scale.
Where did this massive collection come from? Where did that massive collection come from?
That was one of the guys told me to play bar. Heard me in the last 3 days. Hi guys, how's it going?
It's better. It's okay.
Wanted to play, but don't look like there's anybody to play.
No, yeah. He said, alright, there's Pokemon and humans on Saturdays. On Saturday. Magic starting at 4 o'clock today. Yu-Gi-Oh is noon on Sundays.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to like forget about his face. It happens, I guess.
Oh, no. Oh, thank you.
I need to get more of this. There we go. I find that sometimes the flesh wash that I have available to me is a little too dark. It brings the skin tone way down, and I want him to stay this sort of rosy dude. I don't want to give him a tan too much. Like, the point of the flesh wash isn't to make him look sunburned. It's to fill in the shadows on his skin. Like the crevices and stuff. But I find that sometimes it can be a little on the heavy side and end up just making him look brown. But like in a weird reddish way. There we go. Better. Actually, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. Close that. I'm sort of dry brushing. I'm not really. It's not like true dry brushing. I'm putting a little bit more paint on than I would if I was really trying to dry brush. Because I'm going to be doing several layers on this. Keeping an eye on the time. I know this is a gray, but it's a warm-toned gray, and that's what I want right now. I need to really well wash this brush. This brush is... Yeah, that's the color I want. I'm actually going to bring this up way lighter than it truly needs to be because I'm going to bring it way back down again with a wash after the fact. See how it's bringing out the texture in the skin. See, this is what I mean about like the later sculpts for this game are so much more detailed and careful in terms of how they were done. I've got maybe 10 minutes or so before I need to get going. I'm going to do a tiny bit more actual gray. For this, I'm just going to go in with this brush and do... for a moment. So this is one of my characters that's going to be, she's problematic. She's wearing all black. So I started in with Nightshade Purple. You really can't tell on camera. But she's got like daggers and stuff right here. And so yeah. She's going to be a challenge. She's going to be fun. So she's on the docket. I think before I pack up, I will do a wash on my ancient oak. Let's go there. That goes there. We'll do a wash on the ancient oak and then pack it up so that I can head over and get my mirror replaced. So let's do a wash and then we'll close up for the day. I'm going to do a wash on the tree and then yeah, I'll be in good shape. We're going to do Earthshade on that. I think he's...
How long stuff takes you, you may be able to do something this afternoon.
Maybe. It really depends. I think he's looking great. I'm really pleased with him right now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Washes are amazing.
Washes are amazing. Look at that. Look at the definition we're getting in there. We're going to do a green wash over this too, to bring it back to the greens.
Oh, I thought you had already done a wash on the greens.
No, I did a lot of dry brushing on the greens. I had not washed it yet. No, the greens were like, I don't know, 5 different layers of dry brushing.
Nice.
And see, this is why when I did the highlighting, I wanted to go up fairly light, so that when I put the wash over it, it would come down in the crevices and then be much lighter in the highlighted parts, so that they would stand out as being the wood green. Go ahead and highlight that, or wash that squirrel. Look at that. It's so good. You can really see the wood texture where the wash has sort of filled in. You can see where I highlighted and the wash falls away. That's a much brighter contrast. Get all up in his tree butt. So yeah, look at that now.
Yeah.
So much better. So, yeah, we'll let him dry. The monk is pretty much, he's as done as I'm going to make him. His face is giving me agita. And I'll be getting back to work on these. I have this Highlander guy with a really narrow face that I didn't realize was as narrow as it is until I started painting him. So that'll be fun. We've got this vampire hunter lady who's going to be a pain because she's all in black. So I'm going to have to differentiate with like bits of purple and silver and stuff. We've got my dragon hunter with his very large axe and his not diseased legs. We've got this guy. He has a big monster arm. He's like possessed, or what's he called? I have it. Possessed. He's possessed. Yeah. Good luck to him. We've got a conjurer. She's pulling a rabbit out of a hat. And yes, she is wearing like pink leggings and a skirt full of pouches, which I think is fantastic. We've got this guy who's called a dervish. I don't love that they use that term because I feel like I don't know enough about the culture that that's from to really feel comfortable with it. But because I don't know if it's insensitive or not, and that makes me uncomfortable. And a Valkyrie whose spear is bent. That's okay. It's cool. It's on purpose. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. Thank you for watching.